Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast Every Day.
We are so happy you are here with us today.
Today, we are learning metaphors for agreeing, disagreeing, and finding balance.
This is a wonderful topic because conversations are not always simple yes or no moments.
Exactly, sometimes we agree completely, sometimes we see things differently, and sometimes we need a middle ground.
Metaphors help us talk about opinions in a colorful but natural way.
We will focus on workplace-ready expressions that sound thoughtful, respectful, and clear.
You will hear two realistic conversations where people disagree without creating tension.
We will also compare simple B1 language with stronger B2 English for balanced opinions.
So imagine you are in a meeting, planning a project, choosing between options, or discussing a difficult decision.
Let us begin with metaphors that help you agree and disagree with more nuance.
Before our first conversation, let us learn metaphors that help us agree, disagree, and stay respectful. Metaphors are useful because they turn abstract ideas into pictures.
Right, instead of saying, I partly agree, you might say, I see where you are coming from, but I am not fully there yet.
That sounds more natural because it treats opinions like places or directions.
Our first key metaphor is see where someone is coming from. This means understand the reason behind someone's opinion.
For example, I see where you are coming from, but I have a different concern.
Another example is, I can see where the team is coming from on the budget issue.
This phrase is excellent because it shows respect before you add your own opinion.
Our second metaphor is be on the same page. This means share the same understanding, plan, or position.
For example, before we make a decision, let us make sure we are on the same page.
Or, I think we are on the same page about the goal, but not about the timeline.
That second example is important because you can agree on one part and disagree on another.
Our third metaphor is meet halfway. This means both sides make some compromise so they can reach an agreement.
For example, I want option 1, you prefer option 2, so maybe we can meet halfway.
Another example is the client wants a faster delivery, but the team needs more time. We need to meet halfway.
This phrase is friendly because it suggests movement from both sides, not one person giving up completely.
Our fourth metaphor is find common ground. This means find ideas, goals, or values that both sides share.
For example, we disagree about the method, but we can find common ground on the goal.
Or the discussion became easier once we found common ground.
This is one of the most useful metaphors for difficult conversations.
Our fifth metaphor is draw the line. This means decide the limit that you are not willing to cross.
For example, I can be flexible about the schedule, but I draw the line at reducing quality.
Another example is we should compromise, but we need to draw the line somewhere.
This phrase is useful because balance does not mean agreeing to everything.
A common mistake is using these metaphors too literally.
Yes, common ground is not real ground, and drawing the line does not mean drawing with a pen.
In our first conversation, Michael and Nicole used these metaphors while choosing between two project plans. Now let us listen to Michael and Nicole discuss two project options while using metaphors for agreement and balance.
Nicole, do you have a minute to talk about the project plan?
Sure, I looked at both options this morning.
Great. I prefer the faster plan because it would help us launch earlier.
I see where you are coming from. An earlier launch would give us momentum.
Exactly. I do not want us to spend too long planning.
That makes sense, but I am not fully on the same page about the timeline.
What worries you?
The faster plan gives us less time to test the final version.
I get that testing is important.
I can meet halfway on the launch date, but I draw the line at skipping testing.
That is fair. I am not asking to skip testing completely.
Good. Then maybe we already have some common ground.
We both want an early launch, and we both want a reliable product.
Exactly. The question is how to balance speed and quality.
What if we keep the earlier launch date, but reduce the number of extra features?
That could work. Fewer features would give us more time to test the core product.
So we would meet halfway by launching early, but with a smaller version.
Yes, that sounds like a healthier balance.
I want to make sure we are on the same page. We launch early, but only the core features.
And we keep the full testing process for those core features.
Yes, I can agree to that.
Then we can move the extra features to a later update.
That seems reasonable. It protects quality without slowing everything down.
Exactly. We are not choosing speed or quality. We are finding a middle path.
I like that. A middle path sounds better than a compromise where both people feel unhappy.
Exactly. A good compromise should still support the main goal.
Should we explain it that way in the meeting?
Yes, we can say we found common ground around speed and quality.
And we can say we will draw the line at anything that weakens the core product.
That sounds strong, but not aggressive.
Good. I feel like we turn disagreement into a better plan.
That is the goal. Disagreement can be useful when people stay respectful. Let us analyze how Michael and Nicole used metaphors to disagree respectfully and find balance. Nicole began with, "I see where you are coming from."
That phrase is powerful because it shows understanding without promising agreement.
That is the difference between listening and surrendering.
Exactly, you can understand someone's point and still have a different concern.
Nicole also said she was not fully on the same page about the timeline.
That is softer than saying, I disagree with your timeline.
It also shows the disagreement is specific. She agrees with the goal, but not the schedule.
Then she used meet halfway. She was willing to move toward Michael's side, but not completely.
That is a very useful metaphor because it presents compromise as shared movement.
She also said, I draw the line at skipping testing.
Draw the line gives a clear boundary. It is firm, but it does not have to sound rude.
The important grammar pattern is draw the line at plus an ing form or a noun.
For example, draw the line at reducing quality, or draw the line at weekend work.
Michael and Nicole then found common ground. They both wanted an early launch and a reliable product.
Finding common ground often makes disagreement easier because it reminds people they are not enemies.
They also used the phrase middle path. That means a balanced solution between two extremes.
The final plan was not a weak compromise. It was a better design of the project.
The big pattern is acknowledge, define the disagreement, find common ground, set a boundary, and choose a middle path. Now let us learn more metaphors for comparing views, softening disagreement, and keeping a discussion balanced. In the first half, we focused on understanding, shared agreement, compromise, and boundaries.
Now we will talk about situations where people are not just choosing a plan. They are comparing perspectives.
This happens when people discuss strategy, priorities, risk, budget, or how fast to move.
The right metaphor can make a disagreement sound thoughtful instead of personal.
Our first new metaphor is look at it through a different lens. This means view the situation from another perspective.
For example, if we look at it through the customer's lens, the cheaper option may not be best.
Another example is through a long-term lens, this investment makes more sense.
This phrase is useful because it invites people to consider another view without saying they are wrong.
Our second metaphor is weigh the pros and cons. This means compare the advantages and disadvantages before deciding.
For example, before we choose a supplier, let us weigh the pros and cons.
Or we have weighed the pros and cons, and the safer option seems better.
This metaphor treats decision making like putting reasons on a scale.
Our third metaphor is strike a balance. This means find the right amount between two needs or extremes.
For example, we need to strike a balance between speed and accuracy.
Another example is the policy should strike a balance between flexibility and consistency.
This phrase sounds professional and natural in meetings, essays, and presentations.
Our fourth metaphor is tip the scales. This means make one side stronger than the other in a decision.
For example, the lower cost is helpful, but the quality issue tips the scales for me.
Or the extra support tipped the scales in favor of the second option.
This is useful when you want to explain why one factor changed your decision.
Our fifth metaphor is see both sides. This means understand two different opinions or arguments.
For example, I see both sides, but I think the second option is safer.
Another example is it is a difficult choice because I can see both sides.
A common mistake is using strong metaphors when the situation needs simple language.
Yes, if the topic is small, plain English may be better. Say, I understand both views instead of adding too many images.
In our second conversation, Adam and Sky use these metaphors to compare two choices and explain a balanced decision. Now Adam and Sky will compare two choices using metaphors for perspective, balance, and careful disagreement.
Sky, can I talk through the vendor decision with you?
Of course. Are you deciding between the cheaper vendor and the more experienced vendor?
Yes, I can see both sides, and that is why I am stuck.
Let us weigh the pros and cons together.
The cheaper vendor helps us stay within budget,
That is a strong pro.
but they have less experience with larger projects.
That is an important con.
The experienced vendor costs more, but they have a better support process.
Through a long-term lens, support could matter more than the first price.
That is what I keep thinking. If something goes wrong, support becomes very important.
If we look at it through the customer's lens, reliability may be the bigger issue.
True, customers will not care that we saved money if the service feels unstable.
So what is tipping the scales for you right now?
The support process. The cheaper price is attractive, but support tips the scales toward the experienced vendor.
That sounds reasonable.
But I do not want to ignore the budget. We still need to strike a balance.
Maybe we can ask the experienced vendor for a smaller first phase.
That would reduce cost while keeping the support advantage.
Exactly. That might be the balance between financial caution and long-term reliability.
I see where you are coming from. A smaller first phase could lower the risk.
And it gives us a chance to test the relationship before expanding.
So we are not choosing cheap or expensive. We are choosing a careful first step.
That is a good way to explain it.
Let me test the wording. We weighed the pros and cons, and the support process tipped the scales toward the experienced vendor.
Good, then add the balance.
To strike a balance with the budget, we recommend starting with a smaller first phase.
That is clear, professional, and balanced.
Do you think it sounds too metaphorical?
No, you use the metaphors to organize the reasoning, not to decorate the sentence.
That is a useful rule.
Metaphors should help people understand the decision more quickly.
Thanks, Sky. I think I can explain the recommendation clearly now.
Let us compare simple opinion sentences with more natural B2 English using metaphors for agreement and balance. A B1 speaker might say, I understand you, but I disagree.
That sentence is clear, but it can sound a little direct depending on the tone.
A softer B2 version is, I see where you are coming from, but I have a slightly different concern.
That version respects the other person first, then introduces disagreement gently.
Another B1 sentence is, we need compromise.
A correct version is, we need to compromise.
A more natural B2 version is, maybe we can meet halfway and find a solution that works for both sides.
Maybe softens the suggestion, and meet halfway makes compromise sound cooperative.
Let us talk about hedging. Phrases like maybe, it seems, I wonder if, and from my perspective help you sound less absolute.
Compare this is wrong with, From my perspective, this raises a concern about the timeline.
The second sentence is more professional because it focuses on the issue, not the person.
For grammar, remember the preposition in on the same page.
Say we are on the same page about the goal, not in the same page.
Also remember, agree with a person, but agree on a plan or topic.
For example, I agree with Sarah. We agree on the timeline.
For draw the line, use it plus a noun or ing form.
Say I draw the line at skipping testing, not I draw the line to skip testing.
For B2 English, use a balanced structure. Acknowledge the other view, explain your concern, and suggest a middle path.
A good sentence is, I see where you are coming from, but I think we need to strike a balance between speed and quality.
That sounds mature, clear, and cooperative.
The goal is not to win every disagreement. The goal is to make the conversation productive. Let us review the metaphors, grammar, and conversation strategies from today's episode about agreement and balance. Today we learned metaphors for agreeing, disagreeing, and finding balance.
The main goal is to disagree respectfully, while keeping the conversation useful and cooperative.
From the first part, remember see where someone is coming from, on the same page, meet halfway, find common ground, and draw the line.
In Conversation 1, Michael and Nicole disagreed about the project timeline, but found common ground around speed and quality.
They also use draw the line to set a firm boundary around testing and product quality.
From the second part, remember look at it through a different lens. Weigh the pros and cons, strike a balance, tip the scales, and see both sides.
In Conversation 2, Adam and Sky weighed vendor options and explained why support tipped the scales toward the experienced vendor.
They also struck a balance by suggesting a smaller first phase to protect the budget.
For grammar, remember on the same page about something, not in the same page.
Also remember, agree with a person, agree on a plan, and draw the line at a noun or ing form.
A strong disagreement has 4 parts. Acknowledge the other view, explain your concern, find common ground, and suggest a balanced next step.
The main lesson is that metaphors can make disagreements softer, clearer, and easier to discuss.
Balanced English helps you protect your opinion while still respecting other people's views. That is all for today's episode of English Podcast Every Day.
We hope you feel more confident using metaphors to agree, disagree, and find balance in English.
This week, practice one respectful disagreement using a metaphor from this episode.
Try saying, I see where you are coming from, but I think we need to strike a balance.
If this episode helped you, subscribe and listen again to practice the vocabulary, rhythm, and pronunciation.
Remember, disagreement does not have to create distance. Good language can help people find common ground.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.